All right, we're live. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Management Chat number 3 for BA15 here at Reedley College with Andrew Shin. I'm Andrew Shin, and I'm super happy with you today, Leah. Say hi, Leah.
Hello.
Hello. And Daniel's here as well. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, can you guys see me on the camera? I'm trying to get it working right now.
You know, I'm not seeing you, but I can hear you. So if that's what you're doing, it's okay.
Right now, I'm gonna try to get the camera working. Just the same thing happened to me last week.
Okay. Perfect.
Trying to get the settings going.
However you fixed it last week, try doing that again.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Are you on a Mac or a PC?
Excuse me?
Are you on a Mac or a PC or a phone?
I'm on a PC.
On a PC, okay. So probably somewhere in the system preferences or in the control panel. So you can turn on and turn off the webcam. All right, guys. So we do have quite a few chapters to go over today. I'm going to start with chapter 11, with the HR management process. I want to call your special attention to page 219 in your textbook. You don't have to have it in front of you, but I really want you to key in on the human resources management process. It starts with keeping qualified employees, and at the very end is perfect employees. That's over today. We start with chapter 11, the HR management process. Special attention to the you don't have to I really key in on the human resources management process. It starts with keeping qualified employees, and at the very end is more today. Sounds like there might be a little bit of lag because I'm hearing my voice back through the microphones. What I'm going to do for right now is I will kind of mute both your microphones. You can unmute yourself whenever you want to, but that'll hopefully improve the quality of the broadcast. Thumbs up if you got it. Good, gotcha, Leah. Okay, and Daniel, I can't see you, but I'm pretty sure that you know how to unmute yourself. So I'll let you do that. So this HR management process, I really important to keep in mind as you're running any kind of organization. The broadcast. Knowing how to do good recruiting. That's casting a wide net, getting the widest possible job. Knowing how to take them through the interview process. Important. Knowing how to correctly select amongst the process is important. So that's the entire input as your process. So let me ask you guys. I'm going to unmute you both here in a second. Do either of you have any connection points with the different parts of this process? Are either of you responsible for doing this for your organization? Knowing how to correctly select the management process. So that's the entire people as your process. A second. Do you have connection points with the different parts of the process? Are either of you responsible for doing this for your organization? Knowing how to correctly select the management process.
Sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm having a hard time on hearing you, but I think that you asked if we're involved or in charge of any kind of hiring in our organization. Is that correct?
Well, of the 3 phases of the HR process, you've got attracting employees, hiring, you have training and development, and then you have compensation and firing. Do you have any responsibility for any part of those for your organization?
I
I don't know.
Daniel, what about you? Any responsibility for any parts of that yet?
No. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm having a hard time.
I hear that feedback. If you're getting a lot of feedback, try keeping the microphone pretty far away from the speakers. So if you have any way to keep the microphone and speakers away from each other, that'll reduce that feedback.
I don't know.
Okay. What about you?
no, I don't. Well,
That yet?
not at the moment, but in the future, I plan on getting into starting my own business, so I will have to have that process.
Good. Good. I'm glad. What kind of business are you thinking about starting?
Electronics, headphones.
If you're getting a lot of feedback, try keeping the microphone pretty far away from the speakers. If you have any way to keep the microphone and speakers away from each other, that'll reduce the feedback. The other thing you might try doing is see if this is open in more than one window at a time. Like if you have that window open, and also the other window open where you were watching before. Let me see if you can close one of the two of those. Does that make sense? We might have lost Leah. We'll continue on though, okay, Danny. So or Daniel. So as you're going into to hiring and owning your own business, just know that there are parts of this or there are tips to be good at each part of this. So when you're attracting qualified employees, your objective is to cast the net as wide as possible. You want as many folks applying for a job as possible. Even though you're trying to select one person, you still want the biggest pool to start with. Second, when you're selecting, you want to have the best selection method possible. And one of those, interestingly, is actually an intelligence test, a cognitive ability test. It might sound a little bit weird, and everybody has different thoughts and feelings about cognitive ability tests. But there is there's a test called the Wonderlic assessment, and I'll give you a link here. I'll put it in the group chat, and I'll also put it over on the event page. So the Wonderlic assessment has hang on. The Wonderlic assessment has actually been shown to be the best predictor of job performance across different categories. So all kinds of different jobs. This means that not everybody's fit for every job. And there's a really interesting case that comes out of New London, Connecticut. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. First, I just wanted to say hi, Jasmine. I can't hear you right now, but I can see you, and I'm glad you're here with us. It looks like from the way you're responding, you can hear me. So I'll just ask you for like thumbs up, thumbs down if I can do that. Okay, good. Gotcha. Looks like our connection's good. So there's this really interesting case, like I said, that comes out of New London, Connecticut. This is in 1997. Robert Jordan was a was a guy who wanted to apply for the New London Police Department, and he applied, and they gave him this Wonderlic assessment to test his cognitive abilities. And what do you know? But he scored really high, and the New London Police Department did not hire him because he scored too high on this intelligence test. Now that would seem to be a crazy move. I mean, you would want to hire the smartest person possible for each job, right? I mean, it would seem like, you know, you'd want the person with the best judgment. But when you're thinking from an HR perspective, there's more than just the kind of hiring the highest or hiring the highest scoring person for each job. You really want to hire the right person for each job. And the New London Police Department looked at years and years worth of data coming from this test that the Wonderlic company has collected, and they realized that people above a certain intelligence level won't stay in that job for very long. You spend a lot of money. You might spend $200,000 or $300,000 training a police officer, and then have him leave a year after his training's finished. That's just not cost effective. You want to have people stick around to serve and to take advantage of their training. So Robert Jordan sued over this, as seems like kind of a reasonable thing to do, and he went to court. And let me see, I have a news article here to share about it. Again, I'll put a link to this in the chat and also over on the event page. But what happened is that the Wonderlic the Wonderlic company has done such a good job collecting data that they were able to go to court on behalf of the New London Police Department and share the data they had and share that according to their data, years and years worth of data, this person wasn't the right fit for the job. He scored too high on the intelligence test or on the cognitive ability test, and he probably wouldn't stick around for very long. So when you're doing your selection, you really want to be careful to make sure that you're selecting the right person, not just the most impressive person. Sometimes if you have somebody coming in for a job who's overqualified, you don't want to have them because they just won't be the right fit for you. So that's an interesting little piece of the selection puzzle. So let me ask you guys this. Is it okay to discriminate in the hiring process?
Nope.
Yeah, I hear you, Danny, saying no. Jasmine, I can't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you actually. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, good, yay.
Okay. Jasmine, is it okay to discriminate in the hiring process?
I would think no.
Okay, you would think no, because we hear discrimination, and that's usually a bad thing, right? Like we use it in a bad context.
Yeah.
Leah, what do you think? Is it okay to discriminate in the hiring process?
I'm going to say no because there are quite a few laws that are in place to prevent it. So, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, definitely. So, I want to reorient your thinking just a little bit. Every hiring process is a discriminatory hiring process. What you're trying to do is discriminate between different applicants. They'll have different levels of qualification, different experiences, and really, anytime you're making a selection, you're discriminating somehow. Where discrimination is not okay is when you make discriminatory hiring decisions based on things like gender, age, race, disability, sexual orientation, national origin, marital status, number of children, things like that. Can you see? Put yourself in the employer's shoes for just a second, and think about whether if you have two applicants who have the exact same profile, and one of them is a married female and one of them is an unmarried female, from the employer's perspective, is one of those more attractive to you?
I'm going to say the unmarried because then they don't have to worry about pregnancy leave.
Pregnancy leave, yeah. You're thinking about saving money on pregnancy leave, keeping a person around, having them not leave their job and things like that. Yeah, that's a pretty normal thing for employers to think about. Jasmine, is it okay to make a decision on that basis?
If I was the manager or I was hiring somebody, I would kind of look at that type of discrimination too, but I wouldn't base it off. Like, I would get to know them and see if they're fit for the job that way. But I would kind of be like, if I had a more experienced worker versus a teenager, I would probably go with a more experienced worker, like that type of sense. Yeah.
Definitely. You're hitting all the right notes there. You want to discriminate based on their qualification and their ability to do the job. So, Leah, you were mentioning maybe wanting the single person, and you had some really good reasons for that. And that's a really easy trap for a lot of employers to fall into. It's really easy to see you taking their entire life into account and to get the best performance out of them and things like that. The best way to not make a decision based on a protected classification like marital status or number of children or sexual orientation is to not know it. Don't ask. Are you married? Do you have any children? Things like that. Are you gay or straight? That's just it's just not okay to ask those things. And it's not that you don't care about your employee. You want to get to know them and things like that. But you want to really, really distance yourself from any hint of making a hiring decision based on one of those protected classes. Now, some things are a little bit some things you can avoid seeing, like somebody's gender or somebody's age or somebody's race. So those are the times when you as a hiring manager or as an employer really need to stop, check your biases. Really think to yourself, do I have an internal bias right now? And if so, I need to acknowledge that and then control for it and make sure that I'm not making a decision based on that internal bias. Because we all have biases. We like to hire people who are like us. So if you're looking at hiring a person who's much older than you or somebody who's your same age, you'll probably relate to the person of the same age more easily. But you really have to think to yourself, all right, I'm going to control for those biases and not make a decision based on my comfort, but based on I need to make a decision based on who's going to do the best job. That's it's good part of the process. Definitely good to get good at. Let me move to the second phase of that HR management process, and that's performance appraisal. In your current jobs, how often are you evaluated?
Say that again.
Go ahead, Leah.
I did once a year.
Once a year evaluations. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine, how often are you evaluated in your current job?
I don't really do a job. I'm kind of like part-time student, stay-home mom. So, yeah.
so sort of all the time and sort of never, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That makes sense. What do you think? What about you, Daniel? How often are you evaluated in your current job?
I don't know. I haven't been evaluated for a while. Because I've been working in the field in the summer, but
yeah.
I haven't got evaluated in that. Like, it's general labor work, so in other jobs I've got evaluated before.
Yeah.
It's just not in my current position.
Not in this one. Okay.
Just working like part time on the fields here and there during the summer.
Uh, probably the evaluation that you experience more is more like informal, right? It's probably somebody watching your work and saying, oh, hey, he's not doing well, have him pick it up, or
Yeah,
or
exactly.
yeah, or hey, great job, man. Like that's so it's I think as potential employers, all of you guys, uh, it's really good to think about both of those different kinds of evaluations. You really need to be evaluating employees like every single day, informally, and watching their performance. If you get to an annual evaluation, and an employee finds out something that you've never, I mean, nothing in an annual evaluation should be a surprise. So if an employee finds out something that they've never heard before from you as a manager, then you probably weren't doing your job as a manager, because you really need to be giving, like daily or regular feedback, maybe even by the hour, depending on the job. Hey, you're doing a great job. I like it when you do this. Can you show these other folks how to do it? Or hey, you need to pick it up in this area. So and so knows how to do that. You bring them over here and show you and coach you a little bit, train you, and get you up to speed. So definitely think about both of those different kinds of evaluations. Let's. I want to talk just a minute. I want to move to chapter 12 for a minute or two and talk about diversity. Can anybody define for me the difference between surface level diversity and then and deep level diversity?
I can.
You said you can or you can't, Jasmine?
I can't.
You
I
can't?
remember reading about it, but I have to go back and see.
Any thoughts on that, Leah? It looks like Daniel's looking.
Yeah, I'm looking at my book too. I don't know the definition offhand.
Okay. Basically, I'll short circuit that for you. Basically, surface level diversity is diversity that you can see. People of different genders. Usually, you can tell people's genders by looking at them. Different races, different ages. So these are the demographic markers you can see. This is surface level diversity. Deep level diversity would be diversity of viewpoints, diversity of experience, diversity of backgrounds. It's stuff that you can't see with your eyes usually. And of the two, there's not like a clean distinction between between surface level diversity and deep level diversity. It's like, when does your skin end and the inside of your body begin? It's kind of, they're connected to each other, right? But the big value of diversity, or the biggest value of diversity, can be found by really looking for deep level diversity. If you have people who have vastly different different perspectives and viewpoints and things like that. I'll give you an example. I was in Hong Kong a couple of years ago with a friend of mine named Duke, and Duke is from he's from Vietnam. He was not born in the United States. I'm tall. I'm like 6'2", and Duke is like, I don't know, 5 foot nothing maybe. I've got kind of European looking white, Caucasian white skin. Duke is obviously Asian. He was born in Vietnam. So he and I are about as different as you can get from the outside. We're in terms of surface level diversity. When it comes to deep level diversity, we've got almost the exact same personality. We have similar outlooks. We've got we're not the same person. We have some differences. But in terms of deep level diversity, we were very, very similar. And you wouldn't want to put Duke and I on a team together because we duplicate each other's functions. He, all the stuff that I'm good at, he's good at. It's really better to separate us and have us work on different teams because we can play that same role on different teams instead of just putting us together because we're different. That's an example of how you use deep level diversity to manage, and you really, I mean, how do you discover deep level diversity? You get to know people, you talk to them, you find out what their mindsets and experiences are. Take good notes. See how they are alike and unlike other people around them. How do they interact with folks? Things like that. Diversity. What's the biggest benefit of diversity in the workplace?
You can have a lot of different cultures and people come together with ideas from what they experience, like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have different cultures with people with different ideas, different experiences. Absolutely. Any other kind of big benefits of diversity in the workplace?
Different personalities and experiences can bring about different ideas and ways of being able to solve problems.
Yes, exactly. So, I think you guys are sort of hitting on the same wavelength there. When you have people with different backgrounds and different experiences, you have a larger set of possible solutions to any problem. So if you're trying to solve problems, having a diverse team attack those problems is definitely a good idea. If you're doing work that's not very problem-solving intensive, it might be better to have a less diverse workforce, because you want them to work, not solve problems, get it done. Communication is not as much of an issue, because the drawback of having a very diverse team is that there's more communication overhead needed. You need to spend more time getting to know each other. You need to spend more time listening to each other, spend more time discovering who each other are. You need to really mine the riches of that diversity and bring out the value of it. There's this whole layer of communication overhead that needs to happen. So for a problem or for a job or an issue, a problem that really takes some problem solving, look for a super diverse team. And intentionally recruit, try to find people who are different, put those folks together into a room and see what happens. For a job where you don't have very much time for communication overhead, and it's not a very problem-solving intensive job, you can skip that part of it. You can move on. But I strongly believe in diversity, not because it makes life fairer for anybody, but because you actually get better work out of teams that are more diverse, and ultimately better outcomes. Better work outcomes make life better for everybody. So I think I probably come at diversity from the opposite perspective than easy here, but I definitely think it's something to be fostered, and I really enjoy working with people who aren't like me, so kind of biased that way. So let's move on, you guys. We've got about 15 minutes left. Let's move on to. Actually, I'll give you guys a vote. You want to spend some time talking about motivation, or would you rather talk about leadership? So, give you like a 1 for motivation and a 2 for leadership. Leadership?
Or leadership.
Leadership. Okay, we're unanimous. Sounds good. So, how are leadership and management different from each other, you guys?
Management means doing, getting things done right, and leadership is getting the right thing done.
That's a wise definition. So it's like you've got a ladder, and management is like climbing the ladder effectively, and leadership is making sure the ladder's on the right wall, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, nice. I like that definition. Good. Any others? Leah, Jasmine? Do you have other kind of thoughts about the difference between management and leadership?
Just my basic one that managers manage people and leaders lead people.
Okay.
That's what I would think is different.
So, I mean, I like where you're going with that. Say a little bit more. Talk more about like what's managing and what's leading. Where does one stop and where does one start?
So I feel like. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, Jasmine, I think you've got the ball. What do you think?
Okay, so managing people, you kind of more in control of what they do and as far as how they do it. Because I feel like when you manage your finances, you kind of have the control over it. Like you know what's going in, what's going out. So I feel like when you manage people, it's the same thing. Like you're more in control of that person. As far as leadership, you're leading them to make their own decisions and kind of come up with their own idea of things and find their own path. And you just kind of will lead them that way. So kind of like step back. Yeah.
That seems like an effective definition to me. Leah, what do you think? Leadership management?
I don't have like a formal definition. Leadership has to do with being able to motivate people and come up with ideas that are inspiring, while managers are the ones that are on groundwork to make and concepts happen. That's kind of how I think about it.
Okay, so management sounds like the definition is a little more technical, a little more kind of control oriented, and leadership. I heard you use the word inspiration, right? A little more inspiring and
management is more involved in the process.
and whereas leadership is more about the people.
Yeah, management is more with people, and leadership is more about ideas and big picture concepts and manage to that point. How do you get to that final outcome?
Okay. Yeah, I think that seems like a good working definition to me. What's there are two theories, or there are a lot of theories of leadership, but there are a few major theories to be aware of, or major categories of theories. The first one is a trait theory of leadership. So the trait theory of leadership says that leaders are this way. You know, leaders have these certain traits, and really, the trait theory of leadership focuses on developing those traits in yourself as a leader, or looking for the traits that make a good leader, and selecting a good leader based on the traits they have. What are some traits that might lend well to leadership?
Appearance.
Appearance, yeah, absolutely.
And the book, it says something about height. A lot of leaders are tall.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? That's I think that's subtle and psychological, but it's definitely yeah.
Mom, you want ice cream?
What are some other traits of a good leader? What traits of a leader?
I think someone who's very emotionally, because you have to deal with a lot of stress when you're leading people and deal with a lot of personality that can be stressful to someone who doesn't have a good self perspective of themselves.
Somebody who's emotionally balanced, not going to be thrown by different situations. Yeah, that makes sense. Jasmine, what's another trait of a good leader?
Well, in the book it says like a good desire to lead and self-confidence.
Yeah, so you actually have to want to be a leader, right? Not everybody has that desire.
Yeah.
So height, self-confidence, physical characteristics, appearance, self-confidence and desire, and then emotional balance and stability, um, I guess, emotional quotient, some ability to deal with other people and their feelings too, right? Those are all good traits of a leader. Let's flip over to the other theory, or the other set of theories around leadership, and that's the behavioral theory of leadership. The behavioral theory says that leaders are defined not by who they are, but by what they do. Leaders do this and they do that. I don't know how useful the trait theory of leadership is. I mean, I guess as I think about my own life, you can think about whether you're a leader or not. You can look for leadership in other people based on characteristics. One of the theories that goes into the trait theory of leadership is called the great man theory, and that's sort of the looking for great leaders like Steve Jobs and President Obama, John F. Kennedy. You can look for people who have these traits and say, oh yeah, that's a leader. That's the great man that we need to lead us and do something for us. The other theory, though, the behavioral theory of leadership, I think is probably more useful in terms of like day-to-day application. And again, that's just saying that leaders are defined by what they do. If you think about leadership as leaders doing certain things, then you can do those things. You can learn to do those things, or learn to do those things better, and become more effective in your own leadership. There are two main behaviors that go into behavioral leadership. The first one is initiating structure, and the second one is defined as consideration. So a leader who's initiating structure will look at the calendar and say, hey, look, I've got to do annual evaluations for everybody in the office. Let's you send out an email and schedule that to happen. That's that's an example of initiating structure. A leader who initiates structure might say, let's look at what our goals are for production for this week and figure out how many people we need on shift to meet those goals, and then make that happen. That's an initiating structure type of behavior for leadership. The other kind of behavior is consideration, and consideration is it's really the stuff that Leah was talking about with exercising emotional quotient, listening to your employees, thinking about their motivation, motivating employees to do more, giving them reasons to show up to work on time and do a good job, inspiring people to work, listening when things aren't going well, finding out what needs your employees have and seeing how to meet those. Those are all under consideration. It's all the people skills stuff that a good leader does. Even things like figuring out what people's skills are and plugging them into the correct roles in the group. That's consideration. It's all the people-focused stuff, whereas initiating structure is all the task-focused stuff. Does that make sense as a framework for thinking about leadership? Those two. So let me ask a question then about leadership. Are leaders can leadership be learned? Are leaders born or are they made?
I think both.
Talk about that for a minute, Jasmine. Why?
Because I know some people, well, like for instance myself, I know I don't like to lead people. Like I feel like I have to get myself right before I can, take on a opportunity like that. Because I don't want to lead people astray. So I wouldn't feel comfortable leading others because I don't really know as much. But I think if I were to learn and to practice, then I would want to lead others. But yeah, I feel like it's a big task, and I'm more afraid to let people down. So I think in some cases they're born, because some people just like to lead others and know what's right, and then others they like to sit back and just kind of follow,
Okay.
like observe and stuff.
So you feel like you could occupy that role? You just need some time to build skills and things like that.
Yeah, like anything with practice, I feel like you could probably become. Yeah, I think if you practice it enough and actually care about more of the welfare of people, then yeah, I think you could lead other people.
So, Jasmine, just to make this very personal, what's one skill that one skill or behavior that you can work on that would make you a better leader?
Um, I would say standing up, because I feel if you have a strong will to stand in for what you believe in, then you're kind of like the leader of that self, because people will gravitate towards that personality, like they want to be around you. If you like really stand for something and you just don't care what people say, I think that could be like a more of a leader characteristic as well.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
So standing up and inspiring people with a vision is something that you can work on.
Yeah. Yeah. Find something you love to do or something you really care about and just go for it. And kind of the rest will follow.
As a parent, you have a chance to practice that stuff all the time. It inspires them with a vision, giving them a reason for doing things. It's a great leadership laboratory.
Yeah.
That's cool. How old are your kids, Jasmine?
Yeah. My daughter's 5, and then I have a son that's 3, and I just had a newborn.
Oh, congratulations! That's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
So, Daniel, I'm going to throw it over to you for a minute. Are leaders born or are they made?
I'm gonna have to agree with her. They're kind of both. To me, it's like based off your experiences growing up. Like everybody experiences different things growing up, and we all get put in different situations. And some leaders are just made that way with their experiences growing up, and others have to go to trainings and seminars to build their leadership skills. So I feel like it just depends on situations, and it could be both ways.
Okay.
But some of the greatest leaders have probably been like born that way. They just have instinctive leadership skills that can't be learned from seminars or trainings.
Interesting. So I'm hearing you say that the leadership can be learned at a lot of levels, but at the highest levels, you really need to be born that way. Does that sound accurate?
Not really born that way, but developing those things instinctively through experiences growing up. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. You have to be formed into a leader.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Daniel, again, to make it personal, what's a characteristic or a behavior of leadership that you can improve on?
Public speaking for sure.
Okay.
Speaking in front of others, that would definitely be a huge one.
Interesting. It's interesting to hear you say that, because I listen to you and I think you sound pretty good. I mean, I'm impressed.
Nah, I guess probably just a camera and live would probably in person would probably be different.
Okay. Well, good. So you got some opportunities to do that. That's not the hardest thing in the world to develop. You can definitely find some places to do it. But yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Leah, leaders, are they born or made?
Well, I partly agree with Daniel in that I think they can definitely be made, and that there are definitely different levels of leadership. I mean, it can be as simple as raising children. I think that requires leadership,
Yeah.
or it can be at the highest level you're running a country, and you know, the opportunities and education and your environment definitely influences that and your ability to be at that high level. But I do think that there is some biologic basis where the highest level of leaders certainly have some trait that allows them to be able to maintain that. So, yeah, I think it definitely is a range.
What about the second question? What traits or behaviors can you work on to develop your leadership abilities?
I think probably being more extroverted and interested in what other people are doing. I tend to get tunnel vision when I work and not really take an interest in what other people are doing. And so I think that would, you kind of have to be interested in other people in order to want to lead. So, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So being more interested in other folks. Sounds valid. Sounds good. There's two other leadership terms that I want you to be familiar with. The first one is path goal leadership, and that's defining a goal and then setting a path to get there. It's a little more task focused version of leadership. And the other one is called transformational leadership. You really should be familiar with this term. Transformational leadership has a goal of trying to get employees to see beyond their own needs. And the theory is that if you can transform people, you'll transform and improve. If you can transform and improve, you can transform an organization. And if you can transform an organization, you can transform the world. So I know that's shooting pretty high, but it starts way back with helping employees to see beyond their own needs and be motivated by something outside of themselves. So keep transformational leadership in mind. Hey, you guys, it's 11:33. I want to respect the time. Are there any questions or closing thoughts that you have before we sign off?
Not at this moment. I could think of stuff, but I'm gathering ideas.
Do you have a question on the?
Did I lose you there? Question on the.
Hello. Oh,
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So on the assignment, when we go to the barcoding, what did you detail? I'm confused.
Okay. Assignments. One second here. So, are you thinking about the fifth assignment, the barcoding incorporated website?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, what I really want you to do is to take a look at the company from look at the website and figure out what they sell. Summarize some of the services and products that they have, and then tell them how a customer would actually use these. Like who are their customers? Who will be calling them? What will they use these devices for? The services for? I really want you to just to sort of get a feel for their place in the industry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Okay.
Good. It's an interesting company, but where they fit into a fast changing industry. When we look at and think about industries, we tend to think about the customer service oriented industries, and we think about the Googles that you use, and the Amazons that you buy from, and the Starbucks that you can actually see and physically go to. We don't like you might think about the supermarket, but you don't very often think about who provides things for the supermarket and how that how that transaction works. I want you to just start thinking about the businesses that are like one step removed from you as a consumer, because these some of these businesses are huge and they're a big important part of our economy. So yeah, just look at this business. Think about who they are, what they do, um, needs and things like that. Um, any other questions? I've got one question for you guys, but I wanna make sure that I answer any that you have first. Okay. Um, so my question for you, what's been your biggest takeaway from our conversation today? 45 minutes or so on the phone. Hopefully it's been valuable to you for some reason. Daniel, let me start with you. What's been your biggest takeaway today?
Today, our discussion on leadership, it can refresh my mind. All the read, like I knew some of the stuff, I just couldn't explain it. Like the first, all the diversity part actually, but the leadership, yeah, like I like the way you asked us the questions, and like it made me think. Like right away, I thought of that saying from the book that leadership is leading, doing the right thing, and management is getting things done right. Like,
Yeah.
I really like the leadership part. I don't know why.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad it's valuable for you. Keep thinking about that. And I mean, leadership is, boy, our nation, our organizations are just crying out for leadership. I know so many institutions that could really benefit from different or better or any leadership at all. So it's for sure worthwhile that we all think about it. Jasmine, what about you? Biggest takeaways from today?
Yeah, I like leadership. I actually like learning about it in this chapter, the following chapters. I'll find that for myself, I need to have more self-confidence and more so of drive. Like I kind of like drive, or because I'm more a procrastinator, so I don't really get things done. Practice, trying to motivate myself and actually accomplish some of my goals, then I can have more self-confidence, which will lead to like emotional stability, and they would just kind of fall in a ripple effect. So I feel like I really need to have a drive and a sense of what I really want in life, and find that and follow that, because I feel like if I'm more confident, my kids will look at me and they will want to be me, and I'll be kind of more of a good example for them. So yeah, definitely like that about leadership.
And maybe you'll want to be you more too, right? Okay, Leah, biggest takeaway from our conversation today?
I appreciated the conversation about hiring and how hiring, what they look for and how they hire in a candidate, just because recently I've been in a different position. So it kind of gives me some insight as to where the mindset is and how that can relate to diversity and uh, having a broad range of employee skills. So I appreciated that conversation.
Good. I'm glad. I'm really glad for each of you guys that your takeaways today have actually been personal and applicable and not just academic. I mean, I would hope that coming out of this class, you feel like you have a better perspective on management. You've got more more of a well-rounded way of thinking, and I would much rather have you take away some real skills that you can use rather than just like, oh yeah, I've got 3 units and that's done. So that's my goal. I hope the extent to which those lessons are personal is the extent to which we achieve that goal. So, thank you. All right, you guys. Any concluding thoughts, or you guys ready to go and finish the rest of your work for the day?
Finish the rest of the work.
Sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go do some grading. We'll sign off. If you have any questions between now and tonight, I'll be on and off the email. Feel free to send me emails, and I'm gonna try to get everything wrapped up and ready to submit grades and all that stuff. So it's been nice to work with you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.